Everybody. I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about courage and clarity. And what I find is really not talked about a lot when it comes to this is the importance of having a vision, because I know a lot of people have a tough time standing up to their wife or standing up to their coworkers, employees, neighbors, socially. And people don't understand, like, why am I so indecisive? Why do I feel like everybody else is making decisions for me and I can't defend what I believe in? I can't speak up for myself. And they think they just need more courage. And there's some truth to that. But the nuance that I want to talk a little bit about today is the difference between, courage just for courage's sake and courage that comes from somewhere. So courage, in my view, comes from clarity. If you don't have clarity about who you are, what you want out of the world, what your values are, what you're aimed at, what your ultimate goal is, where you want to try to get in your career, in your family, in your personal health, that lack of clarity is what breeds a lack of courage, right? Because the typical process that happens is let's say you want to run your family a certain way, right? Or you want certain decisions to be made for the kids, or how you and your wife spend your free time on date night or hobbies or whatever. And you present your idea of what you want to do. Other person comes in more forcefully and says, no, this is bad, or guilts you. And then you back off really quickly and you end up going along with somebody else's vision for what you should do. And this leaves a lot of men feeling like they are an extra in somebody else's movie, right? And all of us have this deep down call that we want to be the main character in our own movie. But most of us end up living these lives of quiet desperation, right? We do what the neighbors do. We do what, this is what my high school guidance counselor told me I should do. And then I went to school or college and they told me to do this. And then I got hired by this company and they told me to do this. And then you wake up one day when you're 40, 50 years old and you realize there's not a lot of you in your life. And that same process can happen in a relationship, right? You get married, you have no real idea of what marriage is. And so slowly your wife, who probably has a pretty clear idea of what she wants out of a marriage, her preferences, her decisions, her vision for the relationship end up taking over. And you end up in this really, really painful place where you don't feel like there's a lot of you in your own life. And when you feel like there's not a lot of you in your life, it's a very bad feeling as a man. It's disempowering. It messes with your hormones. It messes with your neurochemical, balance. Like, it really throws you off, and it can leave you in this place where you don't have that mojo, that necessary kind of momentum to even get going in the first place. And so you live life at half speed, or you live in that state of failure to launch, kind of watching life pass you by, wondering why you look at your peers and they seem more like men than you. They seem older than you, even though they're the same age. They seem like they're so much further ahead than you, even though maybe they're not actually in a material or financial sense, but you get that feeling. And this all comes on some level from a lack of clarity about what you actually want. So the way to solve this is to get really clear on where do you actually want to be in your life, in your relationship, in your career, with your family, with your health and your fitness. And I don't mean clarity in something as simple as, well, I want to make $100,000 a year. I mean really, really granular, right? Get very, very specific with it, because the more specific that you get, it's like you're downloading a roadmap of how to get somewhere to your subconscious mind. And when you get really specific, right? Let's say you write down a vision of where you want to be in 10 years and you say, I wake up in this type of bed, with this type of view, in this part of town, and I go downstairs and make my coffee in this kind of machine, and my wife walks in and she greets me this way, and my kid comes in the door from biking that morning and he's got a smile on his face because this just happened, and then I go get in my car and I feel really good because I'm on my way to working in this type of office. Like, you get really, really specific, and that does two things. That specificity, I don't know what happened there, but that specificity, it sinks in on a subconscious level, and it also allows you to feel the emotion of the moment, right? So when you feel how good it would feel to live that life, that actually starts to orient your being towards that destination. And if you get really clear on, what you want for your family, right? You're the king of your kingdom. What does the king's vision of the kingdom actually say? Right? Where do you want to go? What relationship do you want to have with your wife and with your kids? How do you want to be greeted when you walk in the door? How do you want to fight with your wife? What priorities and hobbies do you want to pursue together as a team? And if you get really granular on that vision and you actually understand exactly what it is you want your kingdom to look like, how you want to operate, the values that you have, right? Because some people value freedom, some people value security, some people value technology, some people value nature, right? Like, what are your values? Google a list of values and select the ones that matter the most to you, because until you're clear on that, you're going to be bumping into other people who are clear, and you'll end up being an extra in their movie rather than the main character in your movie. So make that vision for all of these things. And what will happen is the next time your wife tries to kind of bulldoze you with her perspectives, the next time your coworker tries to do that, the next time your neighbor tries to do that, rather than overanalyzing and wondering how to defend yourself and feeling like you could have stood up for yourself, but you didn't, you just went along with it, your default mode will be to protect what you believe in. Because you actually know what you believe in. You know what you want. You know where you want to go. You have a plan, whether it's a good plan or not. You at least have a specific plan of how to get there. And when you have that level of clarity on who you are, what matters to you, and where you want to go, when somebody else bumps into you with a different vision, you will actually defend what is yours. That clarity is what will lead to courage. And again, you won't have to generate that courage. You won't have to generate that motivation for your life. Your default mode will be to defend your vision, will be to pursue your vision, because you actually have something to aim at, right? It's a very obvious comment to make that if you don't know where the target is, you're probably not going to hit it, right? But so many of us, by the time we hit 30, 40, 50 years old, we've never actually really thought about what we want other than I want to make more money or I want a bigger house. So get really granular. That courage comes from having that clarity. And when you do this and you practice this for long enough, it's not that long. It can be weeks or months of doing this before you begin to actually feel like the main character in the movie of your life. You are not playing an extra in somebody else's movie and it's unfulfilling and it's not what you want and there's none of you in your life. Your life begins to feel like your own. Your life begins to feel like a source of inspiration and passion to you. You begin to be excited to get out of bed in the morning. And when you live in that state on a regular basis, it's easier to go to the gym. It's easier to make those extra phone calls at work to make that extra money. It's easier to have that fight with your wife that you probably need to have that you've been ignoring because it's easier, right? Because you know what you're missing out on. You know where you want to be. You know what matters to you. You know what your values are. And so when you let things go that hurt your values or that hurt your vision, it actually is painful. And so your default mode will be to stand up for yourself. Your default mode will be to say, hey, no, I'm not doing that. This is why. And it's crazy, like simple little things. You tell your wife, hey, I've got this amazing Italian restaurant I really, really want to go to. I've been waiting for it to open for 6 months. I'm so excited about it. She goes, oh, well, I'm kind of feeling like sushi today. A lot of them will go, oh, okay. And then they'll kind of go to sushi and they won't enjoy it. Her wife can sense his energy isn't very good. He gets resentful of her. But if that same moment happens after you've done these seemingly unrelated exercises to clarify your values and what you want out of life, your wife goes, oh, I'm feeling like sushi today. You will, without even trying to, you'll stand up for yourself. You'll go, hey, we can go to sushi another time, but I'm really excited about this Italian restaurant. I'd love you to come with me. And she'll feel that energy. She'll feel that purpose, that power that you have. And again, that comes from clarity. That courage comes from clarity. And she'll actually most likely go, oh, okay, that sounds fun. Because she'll feel what you're feeling. She'll absorb some of that excitement, that purpose, that determination that you have, that strength, for lack of a better word. And she'll want to be a part of that. She'll want to experience that joy that you're experiencing, right? So, one of my coaches, my head coach, Damien, says, your life has to look exciting to her. You want to be on that fun bus. She wants to be on that fun bus with you. And when you actually believe in what you're doing and you're passionate about it, not only will you have the courage, not only will you have the motivation, but she'll see that and she'll want to be a part of that. She'll want to be a part of the adventure that you're now living because you've ceased to be that extra in somebody else's vision for your life. And you're now the main character of your movie. And maybe that movie has not got anywhere yet. Maybe you're not really happy with where things are at in any category of your life. But when you have that spirit of adventure in you and you're embarking on that hero's journey, the people around you can sense that energetic shift. It's remarkable how quickly, especially women, pick up on that energy. And you'll notice that people are attracted to you. People are interested in what you're doing. People look at you when they're telling a story instead of looking at everybody else at the table and ignoring you. All of those shifts on some level come from the courage that clarity with your vision gives you. So my advice to anybody who's kind of feeling a little bit lost or feeling like they're an extra in somebody else's movie is take the time to write out in as much detail as you possibly can, but do a bad job if a good job seems intimidating. you don't have to do an amazing job, but if you can, write out a lot of detail. What do you want your family life, a day in the life of your family to look like 5 years from now? What do you want a day in the life of your career to look like 5 years from now? What do you want a day in the life with your fitness to look like 5 years from now? And if you create that vision with enough specificity, with enough emotional excitement attached to it, your default mode will be to protect that, to pursue it with clarity and with confidence. And that will give you back your mojo, that'll give you back your zest for life, that'll give you back your passion and your momentum and your motivation in a way that you maybe have never experienced. So that's my rant for today. I hope it was helpful. I'll post it on my Instagram for those of you who missed it. And for those of you who joined and watched, thanks guys. This is fun for me. So thanks for joining so I can do this.